Vanessa. With that, like, subscribe, ID in the Discovery Channel. Yes, ID in the Discovery Channel. The links are provided below. Get that Discovery Go app as well as that ID Go app. You might in fact want to get those two and combine them together. Yes, but pertaining to, yes, Vanessa Marquez, right? Her being shot, yes, completely dead by cops, police, whatever you choose to call them, as in the terminology, right? I'm in question of whether with her, because see, there was bizarre behavior before she died. That's in fact how she died. And yet I'm in question of if her health condition or whatever situations, because there's more up underneath this. You can't just put out a story and say, well, she was acting bizarre and that's what killed her, and police and all the rest, and not know that there's more to that. Either there's drug usage with that, or mental illness with that, or there's something else. And that's why I'm questioning, could her health condition have did that sort of thing, made her act out and be all bizarre? She in fact had medical issues. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. So yes, Vanessa Marquez starred as Nurse Wendy Goldman. Remember the show ER? She starred, yes, on ER for the first 3 seasons. She was shot dead in California, South Pasadena to be exact. In a police report, it has been summoned, yes, Marquez home. It was summoned, yes, for a welfare check. As in when you go over there to see what is going on with the individual and why whatever is going on as at play. If there's strange activity, strange behavior, that sort of thing, yes, sometimes is, yes, put out for even missing people when something goes on or whatnot, right? And so, yes, it was summoned to Marquez home for a welfare check, and all was done. Yes, a mental health worker was included in that. You want to take somebody, when somebody is acting out, you want to take somebody with you as a mental health worker to try to see what is wrong there, right? So it said that she was, Marquez herself, yes, she was extremely uncooperative. That's why that mental health worker was there, which led to Marquez being shot dead by officers. This was shared by a police spokespersons. It says Marquez threatened police with a BB gun, which was also designed to look like a handgun. That's to ask, why was she threatening police? Why could she have been doing that sort of thing? Yes, some people are, yes, sometimes act normal, and some of us don't, right? As in, there's when I spoke about Hollywood, how some of us, in fact, yes, outside of health conditions or whatever, even if you are Hollywood and you don't have health conditions, it's to say us individuals do, in fact, act bizarre at times. And yet, pulling out guns, a BB gun, and say threatening police is one of those things you wouldn't want to do. That's like heist mentality or something. I don't know. You never know. You get shot up, which is why the situation ended in the way that it did. And yet still, once again, up underneath it, I said time and time again, there was health issues outside of mental health issues. I'm going to get into that. So Marquez spent years working sporadically and shared on her social media accounts online that she was suffering from a pulmonary embolism. She was also suffering from celiac disease and osteoporosis. That's a little bit young, isn't it, to be suffering from all this stuff going on at once? I'm saying that sort of thing would in fact make it somewhat mental, acting out. Sometimes people acting out mentally is not just acting out just to be acting out, despite them not fitting in and being in Hollywood. I'm saying there's individuals, everyday individuals, yes, humans out here such as like you and I that act out in these ways and yet not threatening police, right? Pulmonary embolism, celiac disease, osteoporosis, and she had various issues which were continuing to damage, yes, an already weakened immune system. Who don't know that that's going to make somebody flip out over time? I'm saying it should. Because see, to have celiac disease and possibly eat wheat and stuff like that is to know people are going to have anxiety issues and panic attacks with that. Celiac disease does that sort of thing. I wonder if even she knew about that, as in if you eat wheat, pasta too, and other foods, and yes, consuming certain dairies and stuff like that, that's gonna lead to a medical conditioning worsening how you're gonna act too, despite you being Hollywood. Pulmonary embolism. Her body was completely wrecked, is what I'm trying to say. And so while mass media wants to do the coverage of everything else, I focus on the issue, the learning aspect of the issue, as in why this sort of thing happened. Yes, some individuals might in fact say, well, she make us look bad because many people with celiac disease don't act the way that she does. And yet even to use her for an example is to say what more likely could happen, as in to lead up to stuff, as in even you yourself with celiac disease acting bizarre at times. I'm saying it helps sometimes not to judge completely without analysis, as analyzing stuff. Why people are acting the way that they do, and yet nothing is being told, even in the sciences, right? Let me fast forward and I'll go back to that. So anybody remember about, yes, it was about a year ago when she came out, Marquez herself accused George Clooney of sexual harassment incidents between she and Clooney on the ER set, the TV show ER. Last year or so, she in fact, yes, accused him of sexual harassment. That sort of thing goes down as well. That's not saying that he did that and he's evil or whatnot, but the casting couch and all that pertain to when people like to ask me about industry. Does that sort of thing go down? And sexual harassment and all the charges that play around with that, yes, that does in fact go down, to be exact. Because see, to know that you can say, try to take advantage of somebody that might not be at your level industry. Isn't George Clooney above her, or wasn't he, with the roles and all the rest, while she played somewhat decent roles, right? Let me fast forward some more. So supposedly Marquez was blacklisted. Blacklisted means blackballed, right? Supposedly Marquez was blacklisted, in which George Clooney claims to know nothing about. George Clooney is claiming to not know anything about why she was blackballed in the first place. That's odd in itself. He claims to have had nothing to do with her being blacklisted, blackballed, and the rest, right? And I said that it all sounds like casting couch and all the rest with no casting directors involved. That sort of thing in fact happens where people do become blacklisted and all the rest. And once again, I'm not saying that was one of these situations, and yet once again you never even know. It's all a question from my end to his. Abuse of power stands and stuff like that. To know that you got a better role than somebody else in the industry, right, and say try to take advantage of them, is to say you're not going to be found out, and yet while that person is voicing themselves being taken advantage of, is to say once again the public is not going to believe you, the innocent, over the one that has more power. It plays out in Hollywood every day. People just don't know, as in they don't say or they don't recognize and believe when stuff like that take place, and yet it does. The abuse of power and the innocent. Because see, rape, anything could happen. Rape situations. You had Harvey Weinstein. Nobody really likes to say his name in Hollywood outside of his victims. And yet I'm bold enough to say stuff like that do take place, with even you being on a set with individuals and them just say threatening you and all that other stuff. You've seen the Bill Cosby situation, for which it stood and stand. Sleeping with somebody, raping somebody, you being a male and she being a female, and then you wanting to put it away where nobody could even see. Threatening her life with that. And then not only that, now she don't even hardly got no jobs coming to her, and even no roles, because you done turned out and turned down the lights with that. And not only that, she has health conditions to go with it. That ain't gonna work. That's to say a life could be lost in that, because if you ain't got no jobs all like that, it's to say you may or may not have insurance, health insurance, to be able to pay for even that. being a part of Hollywood and all this other stuff, and you got celiac disease, pulmonary embolism, yes, and osteoporosis, with everything else kicking and dragging your already weakened immune system. That's to say death can find you quickly with that. Because if you can't find work in Hollywood, it's to say, well, you're going to have to get some type of other job outside. And yet for many individuals that was already working in Hollywood, to say that's going to be an embarrassment on the end of them, because people want to walk up and say, well, why are you now working in a convenience store when you was a part of Hollywood? What done happened? You don't ever know how many bills she done had and made and was stressed out about. Marquez, I'm saying. As in possibly not being able to go, yes, back to a regular everyday job, such as everyday individuals work. Nobody knows the situation, but it all is a question. So I think that's all to be said about for now. I'm like, ain't no way that she's going to be acting all bizarre without there being more to that, right? People should have said, well, possibly them conditions did that. They ain't gonna say that. Losers, I'm saying, ain't gonna never say that, because they don't question anything. Recommended for you, Lieutenant, yes, Joe Kenda, right here, Homicide Hunter. Evil Lives Here, Fatal Vows. Got Paula on the telly. Deadly Women. You can add this to your favorites. Either one of these you can add to your favorites. Red Rum, American Monster, Blood Relatives, Someone You Thought You Knew, The Perfect Murder. You got Unlocked Episodes, To Catch a Killer, All Hands on Deck. Look at that. Add to watch later list, right? Twisted Sisters, Blood Runs Cold. Just scroll over for the description and that's going to come up. And not only that, if you click play, it's going to take you there too. What Lies Beneath, Twisted, Murder by Numbers, Last Defense. Season 1, yes, episode 1 expiring in 21 days. So you might in fact want to check that out before it does, right? Deadline, Crime with Tamron Hall. On Last Night, this shows you what exactly was on last night. Season 1, episode 1, Twisted Sisters. Just scrolling through. Well, she's beautiful. She is. Just hours, this is what the description says. Just hours after a popular teenager is reported missing, her lifeless body is discovered, yes, under a nearby bridge. That's sad in itself. The click this is to once again sign in. See that? It's the lock and key. You would click this to sign in, yes, and it's gonna ask pertaining to your subscriber, TV subscriber, whatever, right? Season 17, episode 7. ID Go original series, Pamela Smart, Missing Pieces. I questioned her too. I didn't question all of her thoroughly, but why the young love was there in relation to her husband's murder. What made him so special? Disappeared, gone in an instant. That show is, yes, fire. Speaking on missing persons, which I like to do videos on missing persons. I don't want to focus on anything else in the realm of the playground having fun. I'd rather focus on real life things and real life people and issues with that. So, yes, that's the same as above. Schedule, preview, and talk real slow while I'm doing it. I'm not speeding up nothing. I'm not shortening nothing either. So that's for losers as well. Learn to pay attention. Crime feed. Click the crime feed, as in right here, is going to take you outside to crimefeed.com and have the both two set by side go together, something like that. It's going to redirect you, is all I'm trying to say with that. Email address if you want to be a part of the newsletter, as in to be the first to know. To be the first to know is a know. We're first to go. That rhyme. That was just that. So I think that's all to be said for now. What could have happened here with even her, Marquez? Nobody knows. always question.